The legendary assassin Hit, the strongest fighter in all of Universe 6, versus Jiren the Grey, the strongest of the Pride Troopers and possibly in the entire multiverse. Who would win in this battle between two titans? Today on Mastar Media, we're going to discuss the possibility that this could actually happen and talk about each character's strengths that we've seen so far and who potentially would win this match. First off, let's start with Hit. The legendary assassin Hit comes from Universe 6 and is estimated to be over 1,000 years old. He is an assassin for a job. He's never failed to complete a single mission until he met Goku, and his skills involve time skip, improvement, stealth, ki duplicates, vital point attacks, punch skips, sense of God Ki because he was able to sense Goku's ki growing with the Kaioken, and ki blasts. He's the strongest fighter in Universe 6, and we still haven't seen his full potential. His opponent is Jiren the Grey. Jiren hails from Universe 11. We don't know how old he is yet. He is the strongest of the Pride Troopers even though he is not the leader. And his skills so far that we know involve advanced movement analysis and senses, speed, power, and ki blasts. However, I think it's safe to say that he's going to have a lot more abilities up his sleeve once we see him start fighting. I'm joined with Unreal and Gaming, another very large Dragon Ball YouTuber, and today we're talking about Hit versus Jiren. There is a big possibility that Hit and Jiren could be going at it in the Tournament of Power. What's up, Unreal and Gaming?
What's going on? Thank you for having me on the channel, and it's great to talk Dragon Ball, especially for this particular fight, because it's one of the most highly anticipated battles within the Tournament of Power arc, so I think we're all looking forward to that.
Yeah, there hasn't really been any indication that Hit and Jiren are going to fight. It's mostly theory at this point, but I feel like it's a really strong possibility because, Hit was the strongest fighter in the, first Universe tournament,
right?
And Jiren is the strongest fighter in this one. And what I really think, and I actually said this in a couple theory videos way back, was that in order to show the strength of Jiren, the new ultimate guy, they got to put him against the old ultimate guy.
Right.
And I have a feeling that, Jiren is just going to mop the floor with Hit, and that's really going to show us that Jiren is just absolutely ridiculously, absurdly strong. And it's because it's supposed to be like a benchmark. If Hit is a benchmark as being, the strength of Super Saiyan Blue with Kaioken or something like that, then if Jiren just stomps him, that's just showing us that he's so far past that.
That'll be so scary. That'll be terrifying.
Yes. So let's go ahead and start with some questions that we writ down ahead of time to talk about some of the things that Hit could do to fight Jiren. First of all, let's talk about Hit's time skip. Is it going to be affected on someone whose senses are heightened to the point where they can detect movement? So, the thing is, we saw Jiren in episode 96. He has this crazy perception of the movements going around him. And then if I guess the question is, when this was your question, was if Hit uses the time skip, Goku was able to beat him by predicting movements. Would that
right
the edge against the time skip?
Well, the key factor about Jiren, I feel, is going to play into the tournament is his heightened sense of awareness. Now, with that, we saw when Goku actually moved away from the Kaching objects, where he noticed that Jiren was able to pretty much read the movements of the objects, which is pretty interesting because the only other character I can think of as of right now, and I know this is non-canon, but if you go back to Dragon Ball GT, for example, when Super 17 was able to pick up on the vibrations within the atmosphere and predicting where his opponent was going to be, I feel as if Jiren kind of has a similar outcome to this, a similar feel. So I don't want to discredit Hit, because I feel as if the fight drags on between Hit and Jiren, I definitely feel as if Hit would have the advantage because of his ever so improving factor of being able to keep up with his opponent. For example, we saw when Blue Goku fought Hit, momentarily Goku was ahead until Hit was able to time skip Blue Goku. As the fight prolonged itself and as the fight kept going on, we saw how Goku was momentarily even with him until Hit got the better of him, which forced Goku to use Kaioken. And then even after that moment, Goku Kaioken times 10 was ahead of Hit during that time until Hit was able to even improve far beyond that in being able to time skip Kaioken times 10 Goku. So what does that tell you about Hit, you know? So I think that if Jiren were to fight Hit, in my opinion, I think that Jiren would definitely get the better of Hit. However, if Jiren were to notice that Hit does have these abilities and is able to improve ever so rapidly, I think that it's in Jiren's best case in a tournament setting to ring out someone like that, because if you give Hit the opportunity to continuously improve and continuously improve and continuously improve, that's going to be a problem, not just for Jiren, but for Goku and everyone else as well. But looking at the time skip factor, I do think that if Goku was able to do it, if Goku was able to pick up on where Hit was going to be and learn from that, I don't see why it would be difficult for Jiren to do the same thing. So ultimately enough, I don't think that time skip would entirely work, because as I said before, if you go back to the Universe 6 battle, if Goku was able to predict Hit's movements and be able to kind of keep up with Hit during that time until he kept improving his time skip, then I don't see why that would be a problem for someone like Jiren, especially the way they're treating him now and being ever so powerful in the show.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, if Goku can read the movements, then Jiren definitely should be able to as well.
Right.
One thing that you were talking about is the heightened perception. Like, okay, the thing about the Kachi Kachin blocks was that the gods they weren't just like throwing them in a straight line. They were like manipulating those Kachi Kachin blocks to move exactly where they wanted. Like they were flying around different directions.
In synchronization, yeah.
Yeah, but so what I'm saying is, like, I can understand like Jiren standing there and thinking, okay, you know, I can sense that they're gonna miss me, you know, based on like the physics of like how they're flying and where they're gonna land.
Right.
But like if they're not flying in a like a actual like physics, you know, like an actual like formula of like where they should land based on like the speed and mass and everything like that, I mean, it seems like they were being controlled. So what I'm trying to say is maybe this like heightened perception that everybody thinks it is, maybe it's something much more than that. Maybe it's not like reading the movements. Maybe that's just what Goku thought it was.
Right.
And maybe he has some other power altogether. Because like somehow he just knew that it wasn't going to hit him. Maybe he just like moved so fast that like you couldn't even tell that he was dodging it. I don't necessarily know for sure that it's a perception sort of thing. I mean, we know that he's super fast because he just, you know, he was right behind Goku instantly, and Goku didn't even notice him. But I mean, we haven't even begun to start like realizing like what his powers are. Another thing though that I want to point out about that whole vibration thing is, remember Gohan did that with Lavenda. He expanded his ki to the point where he couldn't see, but he could sense where his opponent was like intruding his ki bubble, right. You know. And so when Lavenda would enter his like ki aura, he would be able to feel that, and that's how he could basically see without his eyes being open. So we know that Jiren does have that like red aura as well. Maybe it's something like that, but I think there's still a lot unexplained about, you know, Jiren, and you know we're going to be finding out he has a ton of abilities and strengths that are probably like super OP.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, so the next question was, with the inability of flight, would this give Hit the advantage, that being a knockout brawl requiring accuracy and attacking Jiren's vital points as he did with Vegeta in the previous tournament?
See, what makes Hit that much more deadly is his ability to kill. And I think that by removing this factor, because if you guys go back to the Universe 6 tournament, the Kaios even pointed out that Hit's real power lies in his ability to kill his opponent. As seen with Goku, he one-shotted him in the heart, and that was the end of him momentarily, of course. Now, if you were to include the factor of killing in this tournament, in which case they're not, but if the Omni King calls for it, then this entire tournament setting would have like a different vibe coming from it, because now Hit has the ability to do what he really wants to do in being able to kill his opponent, in which he is very good at. That's what he specializes in, hence why he's an assassin. However, with that being removed, with no killing having to be a part of this tournament, and with the inability to fly, I still don't think this puts Jiren at Hit at a total disadvantage, because having to look at his battle with Vegeta, for example, that was a primary example of what it's like to have like a direct engagement in an all-out brawl. For example, they didn't fly, they didn't move away from their spots. All Hit really did was, use time skip to strike Vegeta's vital points. And even though, he was incredibly fast, we saw he punched him in the neck, he punched him in the temple, he punched him everywhere he could. And even after the battle, he acknowledged Vegeta in saying, I'm really surprised that you're alive because normally people don't survive this, and if you keep this up, you're gonna die. So we saw how he completely knocked out Vegeta, even with a heavy strike to the gut. I think that going into this fight, unless Jiren gives him the upper hand in allowing him to strike, I think that the pressure point factor may not work against Jiren, because having to see the way they're building Jiren up and giving him sort of like the Hit treatment they did in Universe 6, I think that by seeing this, Hit is going to attempt to strike his vital points, knowing the fact that you can't knock out your opponent, but the only trick is you're going to have to drag their body off the ring and throw them out. That's the only thing to it. Now, can he do it? I mean, it's possible. It's Dragon Ball, but I don't think, in my opinion, that by striking Jiren's vital points, is that going to allow Hit to gain the upper hand. I think that what Hit needs is definitely time skip. That's going to be something to where it's going to help him, catch his opponent off guard that much more. But having to look at Jiren's body mass index and his size, the dude is huge. He's a massively built character, and not saying that size has anything to do with it, but maybe I think overall looking at it, I don't think Hit would be able to mutter the strength to even bypass his body mass index, because Jiren's massive. Even though again, I don't think that size has anything to do with it. I think that overall, the pressure point factor wouldn't play too much into this, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, well, let's talk about the time skip and improvement real quick, because there's a lot of speculation that Hit can't even use the time skip in the world of Wood because there's no time. But that does give him that constantly improve factor. Okay, so but I mean, wouldn't Hit just be like? Isn't he essentially like the most OP character because he can just literally just like improve his power, like he can essentially do like years of training in seconds, essentially.
Well,
and
the interesting
how can
thing
he lose? How can he lose? He's got to knock him off before Hit can like improve to the point where
absolutely. Which is why I feel if this fight drags on, this gives Hit the advantage greatly. I don't think that, in my opinion, I don't think that Jiren is unaware of what time skip is, because just like Goku, if Goku's able to adapt, why can't someone like Jiren? Now that's saying if time skip is implemented in this tournament, because we don't know if, of course, there is any time that passes here. I mean, whatever the case may be, we know that Hit
he
is able
stores
to store
it though,
time.
right? Yeah, he stores it up.
Yeah, he stores time, so he's able to use that to his advantage. However, again, we don't know. If
maybe he only has like a limited number of time skips that he can use
because he has so much time stored. But the thing is, I think that if Jiren were to beat down Hit, just like Goku did, and allowing Hit to remain in this tournament, Hit can adapt. Unless Jiren just completely mollywops him and throws him out without even hesitating. Well, I mean, because the thing is, asking with Topo even said, we are here bearing the survival of universe number 11. We don't bear any grudges. We don't hold any grudges. We gotta do what we have to do. So I think that Jiren going into this, Jiren's not here to test his strength. Jiren's not here to, fight the strongest. Jiren's here to survive. And by looking at this, I don't think he's the type of person to, want to fight you head on and just care about that. I think that what he worries about more is getting rid of you and surviving and allowing his team to remain
the victor. So why is he just standing there where there's all these explosions going on? He's not attacking anybody.
Absolutely, but why be involved? Why be involved directly when you can have someone try to approach you and not waste your stamina and just bringing them out easily?
Yeah, I guess like Goku looks like he's
because
approaching.
Remember, bro, stamina does play key in this, and I'm not saying that like everyone has infinite stamina. No, that'll be insane to even say. But it's a good tactical strategy to like stand back and let all the other scrubs battle it out, because why get involved, right? But I think that it's a good strategy on his end to just sit back, and when he's really needed, he can come in and just finish the job. But going into this with Hit, I think, in my opinion, Jiren dominates. But the longer this fight goes on, and the more it's prolonged, given said party, this gives Hit a tremendous advantage because of his improvement rate. As even Piccolo pointed out when he watched Goku fight Hit, he said, Hit is improving on a rapid level in which the likes he's never seen before. So similar to that case, I think that if Hit was able to time skip Kaioken Blue Goku, I think it's possible that down the line he would be able to improve against Jiren. But ultimately enough, to establish Jiren as the dominant force, I think, in my bold prediction and opinion, at some given point, we may see Jiren best up Hit to the point where he just doesn't get the better of him, power-wise, but also may potentially throw him out. Because imagine Goku's reaction upon seeing the very person he had a hard time with just gets thrown out like it's nothing.
So I mean, I think that's why we're having this whole conversation.
Yeah.
This why it's a real thing. We're talking about the benchmarks.
What do you think in terms of time skip? Can it work against Jiren?
No, I think so. I think what's going to happen. This is my full prediction for like the next episode or two with Hit versus Jiren. I think at the end of next episode, Goku's going to fly in towards Jiren, and Jiren's just going to be standing there looking at him, and then Goku's going to stop because he's going to see like Hit like right behind Jiren or something like that, and maybe like try and attack him or strike him, and like Jiren's just going to like block it and like keep looking at Goku like Hit ain't shit or something like that, And then I think they're really going to have like a good fight between Hit and Jiren, either now or in a little bit. I mean, it doesn't seem like if you look at the episode titles, it doesn't like they would have said something about Goku versus Jiren for the episode titles from 98. So I don't think they're going to fight yet. I think having Hit like fight Jiren for a few episodes would really boost the battle between Jiren and Goku, as well as just show us the raw power and strength of this new character, because he's going up against the old strongest character.
Absolutely, and I think that for marketing purposes, they're going to prolong that, because you still have to tell the other perspectives of the other fighters like Kale, Kaba, etc., etc. So to prolong that, they're going to give them a little bit of airtime, because we already know that the one of the main events is going to be Goku and Jiren at some given point. But what I agree. I think that scenario, having Goku stare down Jiren and then looking in the background and there's Hit, like that would be amazing, because that's what fans want to see, is an all-out battle between the three. However, I think that they're just going to keep teasing you and teasing you and teasing you until it actually happens. But when it happens, I'm sorry for all the Hit fans, man. My money's on Jiren.
Yeah, I'm going to say go with Jiren as well. All right, so I think we can both agree Jiren would beat Hit in most cases, but he's going to have to knock him off. Otherwise Hit's going to keep improving and technically should be able to win. But I got one more question for you before we wrap this up. What do you think about Hit versus Toppo? Is it a possibility, and do you think Hit would win?
Oh, for that case, I would like to see it, because the way Toei portrayed Toppo, he was supposed to be the candidate to be the god, and he is strong. See, people like to knock Toppo, and rightfully so. I mean, he looks like Hulk Hogan with skinny legs, but it's like I don't want to downplay him too much, because he was able to survive Goku Blue, especially tanking that Kamehameha. And the only logical scene that we saw him get mad in was when his suit was ripped. Once he saw his suit be ripped, that's when he started to take it serious. So that says a lot about him, because even though he tanked Blue Goku's Kamehameha, he didn't seem upset about that. He just seemed more upset that his pride was damaged. So I think going into his fight with Hit, it'll be a knockout brawl. But for that, I'm gonna have to go with Hit, just because, again, even if Toppo is in some way, shape, or form superior, I think that the longer this goes, the more Hit can improve, get back at Toppo, and just use time skip or any other tactic to his advantage. But for Toppo and Hit, I'm gonna have to go with Hit, just because I don't see Toppo being able to keep up with such a fighter like that, just because of his unique abilities. But anything aside from that, I think it's bound to happen. I mean, for example, we're bound to see Hit versus Toppo, Hit versus Jiren, Hit versus Goku, possibly even Hit versus Golden Frieza.
I don't think Hit's going to fight Goku.
Really?
I think Universe 6 is going to side with Universe 7. And I think like they'll probably work together. I mean, you look at like Kaba, he looks up to Vegeta. He's not going to want to go after Vegeta or his friends. You look at Frieza's supposed to be working with Frost. Eventually, they're going to double cross each other. And some of the other like Universe 6 fighters, like they're not really like bad guys or anything like that, like Batamo and Vegeta and stuff.
Problem.
Yeah, so basically, it seems to me like Universe 6 is probably because they know Universe 7 and they're more so on friendly terms, with the exception of maybe Frost. They'll probably side with Universe 7, whereas everybody else, I don't know if any of the other universes get along, or maybe they're rivals. Like there could be some other rivalries there, but
Right.
I don't see Hit. Like Hit definitely looks at Goku as like a challenge, but he respects him. And I think Hit and Goku could probably look at each other as something like, we want to save you for last, you know, like let's have our rematch, but like let's take care of all these other like peasants first.
Yeah, yeah.
I think there's not like an animosity between them, and you know, if there was, then I could see them going in and attacking each other, you know, like right off the bat. But it's friendly terms, and I think out of that respect, you know, they want like both of them want as equal and as fair of a match as they can possibly get to truly test each other's powers. You know, that's why Goku forfeited to Hit in Universe 6, because Hit isn't able to use his killing technique, and it wasn't really fair to him.
Yeah,
killing,
he felt it wasn't
killing
fair.
techniques that's when he's his strongest. And you know, and Hit just gave up after Goku gave up because he was thinking the same thing. You know, so I don't see Hit and Goku going after each other immediately, but I also don't really know why Hit would go after Jiren immediately, but it could just happen by coincidence or something. Like Hit could just, you know, try and
Just so happened to bump into each other, right?
yeah, something
Yeah.
like that. And I really think that's how episode 97 is going to end, man. I really do. Either that or like Vegeta flies in or something.
I mean, it's bound to be a slobber knocker, but I mean, my final question to you is, do you think that, in your opinion, of course, do you think that Jiren is the benchmark of this tournament, or do you think that, you know, we're gonna see someone approach, you know, equal to or greater power than him, seeing that how they're building Jiren up? So I mean, thus far, seeing as how he's being built and seeing, you know, his overall presence, do you think, in your opinion, that he is gonna be like that benchmark character, or is that going to fall to Goku once again when we see him transform further?
Well, that's a good point. Like, what if they're pumping up Jiren so much to show how strong he is, and then like some fighter from one of the other universes like knocks out Jiren, and you're just like, what?
Yeah, that would be a shock, bro.
Yeah, that would be kind of crazy. I mean, anything can happen really at this point, but I mean, I feel like it's gonna be Hit versus Jiren, like Vegeta versus Toppo, and I think Hit's gonna lose to Jiren to show how strong Jiren is. Goku's gonna end up fighting him for like probably most of the tournament or something like that.
Right.
And then, you know, I still kind of feel like the tournament could get interrupted by like the Omni Kings fighting each other or something like that. But who knows? I mean, there's basically no villain in this arc, which is the first time. I feel like, is it the first time we've ever had an arc?
I mean,
with no villain?
I guess we can count Frieza because he seems to have a different agenda than fighting for survival. He looks to be trying to mask his emotions and trying to come up with other plans and other ideas to further his agenda and trying to either, you know, destroy Goku or possibly even get back at Beerus, because I mean, there's animosity there. You can't deny that. I mean, I think that this arc does have a definitive villain, low key, and that's probably Frieza, and seeing how he operates, because everyone else just seems to be fighting just to survive or to test their own strength. But Frieza, he's like, you know what? Forget all that. I'm gonna do my own thing, and I'm gonna get someone to help me in furthering our plan. So he's up to no good. If anything, they ought to keep him in check, because who's to say he doesn't do something sneaky? I mean, it'll be kind of hard to even attempt to do something with all the gods there. But with Frieza, I think Frieza has absolutely nothing to lose now, which is why I think that they ought to keep an eye out for him.
What do you think about Frieza and Frost fusion and becomes the new villain of this arc?
I mean, to be honest, it wouldn't really surprise me, because in the world of Dragon Ball now, it's like anything could happen. But if by some chance,
I think people would quit,
hypothetically
dude.
speaking, if that were to happen, again, it'll be difficult to even oppose the Daishinkan or two Omni Kings. So they're gonna have to have real, you know, brass cojones to even step up to those kind of beings. But if such a thing were to occur, I mean, surely it would be a threat to the tournament. But I still think that Frieza is going to do something so sinister, because again, having to look at his motives, he's not here to fight for anybody, bro. He's here to even do his own thing. So whatever that agenda may be, hopefully it's revealed. But he's not a team player. He's the snake in the grass, and I think that he is going to attempt something, as seen in Dragon Ball Super Episode 95. He spoke about, oh, this tournament's the perfect place to try to manipulate the gods. Well, what do you mean by that? Like, what are your motives? Like, what are you trying to do, bro? I mean, if you want to come back to life, you have to help Universe 7, but it seems like that's not the case anymore. He's up to other things. So I think that he's low-key the villain here.
Yeah, I guess they just need to have some kind of antagonist, so that would definitely be Frieza. But
Definitely.
I still kind of feel like we're going into this tournament, and I feel like something major has to happen. It may be a little, it may be dull, it may not be. I mean, I don't know what they have planned, but I kind of feel like there's going to be some like major arc-defining event that happens in this tournament.
Oh,
that's
for
gonna
sure.
kind of change things, and it's not just like this friendly tournament for survival. It's like,
Yeah.
like, a lot of people originally thought that the Great Priest is going to turn evil, and that's going to cause a war between gods and stuff, which would be freaking awesome if something like that happened. But yeah, anyway, man, I think this was a really good video. I think we covered a lot of the topics that people were wondering about, Hit versus Jiren. And definitely that's like the money fight, man. That's the fight of the century. That's what people want to see. And hopefully we get a little glimpse of that next week. You have anything else you want to add before we wrap this up?
I just have to say thank you so much for having me on the channel, and thank you all for watching. It's been a great conversation. I mean, as we did it in the previous conversation talking about Frieza, I truly enjoyed this, and I think you're right. I think that this is going to be a very prominent fight that may occur. And when it does occur, I think that it's going to please a lot of fans. But again, I think that people ought to turn their brain off for this, because there are going to be like unexpected events that occur, like for example, unexpected eliminations that people may or may not, like. So, but for this particular fight, I'm telling you all right now, it's bound to be a spectacle. It's one of those fights where it's going to leave you at amazement, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's going to be a lot of fights in this tournament that are going to amaze us. So thanks, Unreal End Gaming, for joining this call today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video between the two of us. Make sure you guys go check out his channel and subscribe. His link is in the description. I'll pin it to the top comment as well. So he does a lot of Dragon Ball videos, Dragon Ball game videos, and theory videos, and all sorts of stuff, reviews. So really, really fun Dragon Ball channel over there. If you haven't seen him before, go check out his channel. And thanks, you guys, and I'll talk to you all soon.
Later, guys.